The fans of San Antonio know how great you are, and now the whole world does.
Man, it's all surreal to me right now.
Well, congratulations. Kawhi Leonard is the youngest Finals MVP.
You are the 2014 Bill Russell MVP.
Kawhi Leonard has missed all but 9 games this season because of right quadriceps tendinopathy. It's a disease of the tendon that includes tenderness and pain, particularly during exercise.
Leonard fires from the corner. And Leonard goes down again. And he's in pain again in front of the Spurs bench.
It's such a dirty play.
Yes.
Let me finish. It's such a dirty play.
Leonard fires from the corner. And Leonard goes down again. And he's in pain again in front of the Spurs bench.
It was a dirty play, period.
Again, that's what they call all the time when you get your feet into the landing space of the shooter.
Those 9 games, maybe the only 9 games Kawhi plays this season. He's been medically cleared to return, but Greg Popovich says the team is prepping to play without him for the rest of the way.
You know, we only have X number of games left in the season, and he's still not ready to go.
Things are not going so well in San Antonio. Things are going very poorly in San Antonio.
Are Popovich and the Spurs being unfair to Kawhi?
Look,
Don't ever talk about what I do with my money, or don't talk about my family, and don't try and tell me if I'm hurt or if I'm not hurt, right? Those are the rules to athletes in a professional locker room.
I lean with the player because I know the player.
I do think it's possible that what Greg Popovich is trying to do is what he believes is best for all parties, Kawhi included.
How does he know what's best for Kawhi?
I didn't say he knows it.
I'm a world-class athlete. All right? I got doctor's advice. I got trainer's advice. I am not looking to the coach, should I play or not?
It's a real dicey situation because certainly nobody's going to question, nobody here is going to question the legitimacy of Kawhi Leonard's injury. If you're injured, you're injured. If you can't play, you can't play.
He has an injury. Something happens with the Spurs training staff. He kind of disengages. They get him back. There's a team meeting.
Kawhi Leonard was in New York for about 10 days prior to the All-Star break, got a second opinion. He's been cleared medically by the Spurs doctor and outside doctors. He's been cleared to return medically. It's on him to decide that he's ready to play again.
There are too many examples in pro sports and even basketball where teams were just flat out wrong.
Kawhi Leonard has been a class act ever since he's been in the NBA.
right.
Doctors, just because they say you cleared to play, doctors don't work for us. Doctors work for the organization.
Popovich has done nothing that would allow him to go inside of me and give me more comfort, me going onto the court.
So if the man's not playing, that means he's not ready. So you have to respect him for not being ready. If he don't want to play, don't play. Just because the doctor said, listen, doctor cleared me and Chuck many times. You see how we walk right now?
Even though he's quiet, very quiet, he's his own man.
They're trying to bully and harass Kawhi Leonard back onto the court.
And they told players they could go out there and play, and we find out later it was a mistake.
Drama around Kawhi Leonard's injury appears to be growing. Tony Parker, who reportedly led a team meeting to convince Kawhi to play, Tony Parker comes out and says even more powerful stuff today, saying he recovered from a similar type of injury that was, quote, 100 times worse.
Quote from Tony Parker saying that I've been through it, that he had to rehab for 8 months with the same kind of injury as Leonard, but his was 100 times worse.
My injury was way worse. So what is he saying about Kawhi Leonard?
And what they're doing is you're calling Kawhi Leonard a liar. You're calling him a coward. You're saying he's soft. He's putting himself above team.
You don't compare your injury to another man's because you don't know what's going on in his body. And that's injuries and money. Is that you don't comment about those things.
Everybody's body and health is different.
Correct.
Just because Tony Parker recovered or his injury was worse doesn't mean he's Kawhi Leonard. That means Greg Popovich is out of bounds because no way Tony Parker is freelancing these opinions.
Pop, anything that comes out in the media,
distributed
said or distributed down to the team,
right?
It comes from Pop through Tony and Ginobili.
Nothing goes on in that organization without those guys feeling like they have Pop support in bullying and harassing this guy. They're out of bounds.
Y'all might not believe this, but the meeting that was Sosei threw up on Kawhi after the game, that came down from Pop to those guys. They didn't do that on their own.
It's hard. Sometimes you feel like an alien to the core group.
There's no reason to have a team meeting, a players-only meeting with Kawhi Leonard.
I mean, he's out there, he's with us, but it's hard when you don't practice with the team.
They would never do that without the okay of Greg Popovich.
That came from up top, no question.
It's hard when he barely been with us in the whole season, maybe a month less.
Right. And I know how selfish Tony is because he's the reason why we lost in 14 against OKC because he didn't want to pass the ball game 6 after I had hit 6 threes in a row.
And you got to fight through it. You got to make an effort to still be around and be part of the everyday topics.
For Tony to come out and make their statement about his hamstring or quad was worse than 100 times worse than Kawhi's is so low.
But the players injecting themselves into this guy's situation at this level with so much money on the line for this guy.
Tony don't have the balls to do that. They just not outspoken guys, and I don't think nobody feared them to respect their word.
He's a fruit pop. That nigga's a sweetheart for real. Bitches. Like, these niggas don't got no hood in them.
And by the fact that came from Tony like that, that's super low. I lost a lot of respect for Tony because they always say, well, this is the class act. This is the class organization.
If Coach Popovich want to talk to Kawhi about this, okay. If the owner, okay. But you as a peer.
What we're going to do is just be crying in the locker room and don't go out and play. It's disappointing. We need him.
Come here, give me a kiss, you little faggot.
You see how they talk about it? He going to want to get up out of there.
People's bodies aren't exactly the same. They don't respond to injury the same or even pain the same way.
Man, this man's got to be hurt, Skip. I don't believe he's faking it. I just don't. I can't.
And so if Kawhi Leonard has $200 million potential dollars on the table, should he rush back because of what? Peer pressure?
And Kawhi is probably telling Tony Parker, it's easy for you to come back because you don't do but play with one end. You do a little pick and roll here and there. Yeah. I got way more responsibility than you, buddy.
Nobody wants to play the game more than Kawhi. Nobody wants to be great or go down as one of the greatest more than Kawhi. So his heart and his passion, and if he want to play basketball, should never be questioned.
There's no way on earth that Tony Parker says such a thing without the okay of Greg Popovich. And for those who don't know Stephen Jackson is a guy that helped Popovich and the Spurs capture a championship.
And what Tony said and that meeting, all this pressure that's coming on Kawhi is coming from up top.
He's very familiar with the culture, and he is more than qualified to speak about anything pertaining to the San Antonio Spurs organization.
Well, he handled a situation with me before wrong, so I know.
Okay, tell me what about that?
To admit to the team that Ginobili and Danny Green were better than me. So he knew my response was going to be, Pop, get the F out of here.
Right.
You know what? You know I'm not saying nobody's better than me. Tell him to prove it when I know I'm better. Like I played on this organization. They came at me sideways before when Pop asked me to say other people was better than me, so I know.
If he is genuinely hurt and Pop is wrong and he's using the media to talk to Kawhi because the uncle is acting as a barrier or whatever it is, then it's not Kawhi who's hurting the franchise. It's actually Popovich.
So no, Kawhi Leonard is apparently a problem for his teammates.
When your teammates going against you in the media like that and not having your back, you know that's coming from up top. Why would you want to be there? So I know the type of person Tony is. He can't be selfish. And by this comment, I wouldn't be surprised if this makes Kawhi want to leave.
Tense team meeting. Manu Ginobili jumps on him this week. Now Tony Parker. They're piling on a guy who's soft-spoken, okay? Kawhi Leonard doesn't talk a lot. He has barely said anything through this whole process.
Regardless of what I thought about the situation, I would never release that information to the media to make my teammate look bad.
And I understand that this is the Spurs way, much like it's the Patriots way to do in the NFL. But this is a very bad path.
Just looking at him, it's hard for me to believe that this man is healthy and he's just choosing not to play. I just can't believe that.
I think they're totally going to drive Kawhi Leonard out. If I'm him, I sit out the entire season, and like Kyrie Irving last year, I demand a trade out of San Antonio.
And at the end of the day, Kawhi's got to do what's in the best interest of Kawhi.
Man, once you get out there, you're going to see our doctors are right. Once you get out there, you're going to see that.
I totally disagree with you.
Breaking news.
Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green going north, and DeMar DeRozan, Jacob Poeltl, and a protected 2019 first-round pick going.
These teams do what they want. They trade you when they want. They underpay you when they want. They do all this. These teams hire these guys that never played basketball to scout players and to run their organizations, and they wonder why they're sorry, wonder why they don't have the players to compete, because the people you have picking your players, the people you have watching your players. I feel sorry for DeMar DeRozan, but I understand because these teams been doing it to players for years. You know what I'm saying? Kawhi, I'm team Kawhi. Kawhi, do what you want to do. Go out there and do what you want, because these organizations been doing what they want with players since the beginning of time.
Clock hitting 0, and this is what it looked like. And I see the big smile on your face as you see, the joy of a nation.
Remember how we killed Kawhi Leonard for not playing?
How do you think the Spurs look with Kawhi in the finals?
I think they look very bad today.
A lot of people were doubting me. Thought I was either faking an injury or didn't want to play for a team. And that was disappointing to me.
Because he's healthy. He just doesn't want to be there. Kawhi wasn't healthy. He didn't feel like he was ready to go back on the court.
Did you not see a player that if he could have played with San Antonio, would have played?
Kawhi was hurt. There was enormous pressure from the most credible guy in the business, Greg Popovich, sending his lieutenants like Tony Parker out to badmouth Kawhi.
It doesn't matter what anybody has to say about me. I know who I am as a person. I know how I feel. And always just trust yourself, because I love the game of basketball. I pass life and try to learn from situations and be wise and learn from others.
I mean, he said it right there. They thought I was faking an injury. It's the biggest indictment you can make of a pro athlete.
My agent helped recruit him. The guy that represents Kawhi happens to be my agent for 16 years in the NFL. So I know who he is.
The organization always going to say whatever makes them look good. But I think if they would have handled the situation better, had communication with him and his team.
He didn't want to talk to him.
I wonder why.
I've been through it. It was rehab for me for 8 months. Same kind of injury, but mine was 100 times worse, but the same kind of injury. You just try to stay positive.
Kawhi Leonard is the winner of this.
Kawhi's a high character guy. You know, we all make decisions in our lives what we're going to do with our futures, and he has that same right as any of us. So I felt badly.